and welcome to Chats with the Chairman, a very special edition. I am actually in Gatlinburg, Tennessee today, but I am the host and the chairman of the IICRC Board of Directors, Kevin Pearson, and we have a great show for you today. The show is about the volunteers of the Institute. And so each month we've tried to pick a different guest that really exemplifies the volunteer spirit. And today I'm very excited that we're going to have Jessica Violand-Bruno on today as a guest. But before we bring her on, I'm going to make sure you know a couple of things. First off, if we don't get to a question that you ask or you've wanted to know for a long time, you can always contact me at my email address, kpearson@iicrcnet.org. And there is also a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. If you would like to ask a question today, type it in there and they'll pass it on to me and we can ask Jessica a question or you can ask me a question. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest who is chair of the S220. She served on several of our standards committees in the Institute, and we'll let her tell you more about that. She's also an inspector, but welcome to the show, Jessica Violand-Bruno. Welcome, Jessica. I am in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So I got my corncob pipe. I got my straw hat.
Yeah.
It was weird. We were walking through the Smoky Mountains and, there's guys that come out of the woods and bring you like little jars of mountain spring water. It tastes nothing like mountain spring water that I've had in East Texas.
It probably smells like some of that alcohol you've used to clean off your tools, doesn't it?
Probably. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I see that you brought John with you.
I did. He decided he wanted to participate today.
Awesome. That's great. So how old is John?
John is 4.5 months old now.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So I understand he kind of helps you type reports and stuff.
He does. He's very good at editing. He's my co-editor. He's still working on the language part of the editing, but he definitely is good at making up words.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, when he was born, I ended up in the hospital. I missed the last 220 meeting because I was in the hospital with this little guy. So he's an honorary member.
So tell us a little bit about the 220, since you mentioned it. I know it just came out for publication and all that, but how about the what did you have to go through to get it out, and how was that process?
That was a long process. I became part of it about, I think, 2 years into it. I was a member, but I wasn't active because I couldn't make the meetings. And then they changed the meeting time and I was a big part of it. And I really enjoyed the process. It is about the inspection of hard surface floor coverings. So ceramic, stone, resilient, laminate, all those types of pre-finished hardwood. It's not a training manual. It really just tells the inspector, these are the things you need to look for when you're doing the inspections. Gotcha.
So how did you, I guess, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in this? I think your story, you've probably done this your whole life. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in inspections and that kind of thing and got to be chair of the 220.
Yeah, I guess my last name is Violand. Did I have any excuse that I wasn't going to be in flooring? I tried very hard not to be. I still remember looking at my dad and saying, I'm never getting into flooring.
And here we are.
Famous last words. Yeah.
Right.
But and it really was just somebody asked. Somebody said, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And I said, sure. I mean, I didn't know what the commitment was. My dad has been involved with them for years. So I knew that it was, kind of regular meetings, phone meetings, and things like that. I took from the point at which I was involved with it, I think till completion was about 3 years. So,
okay.
But it was a brand new standard. So those sometimes take a little longer than others.
It does, because then you have to come up with all the information. I have like a previous document to edit and all that kind of stuff. So what was like the most challenging part of being the chair to you?
Part of it really was the, I'm going to hand John off to Dad real quick.
Not a problem.
I think the most difficult thing was coming up with standardized language. Some of us call it peaking. Some of us call it ledging. Some of us call it, something else. And so it's kind of one of those where when everybody's talking and trying to, we're all saying the same thing, but now let's get it down to what is it really? And how do we make those terms fit exactly what we need them to fit? And there was,
I gotcha.
Lots of discussion about all those. And sometimes we get to it and then we come back and then we say, no, wait, we already discussed that one. That one's this and this one's this. Okay, right. Okay, move on. So.
Yeah, keeping track of all the industry terms and terminology. And sometimes we use them when they're closely related. We kind of just interchange them, but you really can't do that whenever you're writing a standard. You really have to make sure that the words that you put on the paper are what you actually want them to mean, because words have meanings.
Words mean things. Yes. Yeah. Yes, they do.
They do mean things. So yeah, I learned that from Jeff Bishop years ago. It's, we call them flood houses in the industry, but a flood is rising water, not necessarily when a pipe breaks. And so, it's just one example. So, but there's tons, because they're all through the standards. And I think that's why we're coming up now with a glossary, like a standardized glossary. That's going to help a lot.
That really
Did y'all have discussions about that part of it when y'all were going through this?
Some, the toughest thing is, there are some glossaries and there are some standards, the NWFA has their thing, NALFA has their thing. And so, trying to use those ones that are already out there, but then, so those we in that for our document, but what do they mean for the rest of the IICRC? So that standardized glossary is going to be, good. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it all fits together and what terms are in, what terms are out. But having something in the industry that really puts those words on paper and this is specifically what they mean, that's huge. And that was one of the big things with the S220. A lot of this stuff people knew, but it had never been put on paper. So we pulled from a lot of different things. So this document it's really cool. To think about it. Now there's a place to go to find all this stuff, to really get into the nitty-gritty of these are what these things mean, and this is why we're calling it this, and this is why resilient isn't cupping, it's curling. There's things like that, right? Because there was so much, I guess, misused terms, but by people who didn't really know. That was the closest thing, so we're just going to call it that. Okay, but it's not. So this is why this document is so, I guess, groundbreaking, because it gets into, these are the things, and this is what we're going to call it, and we're not going to call it something else.
Right. Did y'all have lots of discussions about that on the committee? I know whenever I've served on committees before, like, you can just get so hung up on like one word for like an hour or something, and you're debating what it means, whether there needs to be a comma behind it or whatever. But kind of explain how that coming to a consensus agreement, how that works whenever you run into those kind of issues.
We had a really great committee. I mean, and Millie and Cheryl and Lee even said, they're like, man, if you realized how good you guys have it, you'd be surprised how some of these other committees work. And we're like, okay, because a lot of us were really new. You know, I had never been on a committee, and there were some other people who had never really been part of a committee. But it really is, it's listening to everybody. It's hearing the words that they're saying. It's understanding, okay, maybe they're not hung up on the whole definition. Maybe they're just hung up on this word. Or maybe, you know, why do you think it needs to be this word rather than that word? And yeah, you can get into hours long discussion on the word the. Should the word the precede whatever we're talking about? And, it's crazy. But, you know, in the end, I think as long as everybody has their say and feels like they're heard, that's really what it gets into. Make sure that every person knows what they really said is good. We had great discussions after that. And sometimes you got to stop and say, okay, we're taking a vote. Should it be there or shouldn't it be there?
Right. So that we can move on.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
We're moving on.
So what advice would you give to someone who's interested in volunteering in one of the standards?
Do it.
Definitely. I would say so too.
It was such a cool experience. It was such a great experience. And I'm involved in 2 other standards now. And it really is, you know, we have all this knowledge and it's all packed in our heads, and, you know, we can share it with our coworkers and stuff like that. But to be able to share it with other people in the industry and to have these big discussions and, you know, tell all the stories, and this is why it needs to be this, and this is why this needs to be in, and, you know, that type of thing. That's where, you know, it's my sisters, you know, would say is we get all nerdy about it.
Right. Exactly. So this was the first ever standards that you ever served on, and now you're on 2 more. So I would say the experience was a good experience for you. Yes,
very much so. Very much so.
Okay, good. What inspection standard would you like to see published next?
Oh man. Wow. I mean, the hard surface just covered everything that wasn't fuzzy. So, you know, the substrates is the next one that's coming out, and it's pretty exciting, but it's deep. There is so much stuff about concrete I don't know. I didn't realize I don't know. So this one's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what else the IICRC can get involved in, but hey, let's do it.
Right. But substrate's coming out next. And so that one's, like you said, that one's going to be really in depth, but it could not only help somebody who's doing inspections, but like you're saying, just with concrete and other things, it could help people doing other things in the industry out there as well. So it's an important one that's going to be coming out. So I guess what is one of your most memorable or proudest moments while being being involved in IICRC?
Oh, probably actually chairing something at the same time as my dad. It's kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I never thought I would really follow in his footsteps, but it's been pretty neat to be able to do some of the same things he's doing, especially, I mean, I've been in flooring all my life. My dad's always been doing this. So to me, it's not this big deal. But when you finally realize and open up and see how big some of these, the IICRC is and stuff like that, and how much of an impact some of these standards have, and just being a member and being, certified firms and things like that. When I realized how involved my dad was, it was like, oh, he's kind of a big deal. So it's like, now it's like, oh, I can be a big deal too. It's okay. Sure.
And working with your dad is kind of cool. I can relate to that because I owned a cleaning and restoration company with my dad for 17 years. So I got to, work with him every day, and just the stories you get, just from working with your dad every day, when the employees walk into the shop and they tell you, hey, we came in today and your dad is sitting with his hands on the computer and he's sound asleep. You just don't forget stuff like that, So I'm sure you have like tons of cool stories, about you and your dad working together. Anything like specifically stand out?
So he was training me to be an inspector. So I was just kind of shadowing him on a couple different jobs and things like that. And he gets down on the floor. And of course, as soon as you get down on the floor, all the animals want to be part of your friendship. I mean, they're like right there, like, what are we looking at? The dogs are definitely right there. The cats are kind of sniffing around like, can I steal that pen? Or are you still using it? So he gets down on the floor and he's looking at this spot. And it was this giant Great Dane at this house. And it comes over and it looks at my dad and it sniffs his head and then licks it. I'm like, that just happened. And the homeowner's like, I'm so sorry. My dad just busts up laughing. I am biting my tongue trying not to laugh as hard as it was.
So funny. And you're like, man, I wish I had a picture of that, right? Or a video. Yeah.
And we still tell that story. We still laugh about it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. We could probably have a whole nother show just about stories of things that have happened with our dads here. I feel like, because I got tons of them myself. So it's great memories. But hey, I think we got a couple of poll questions.
Okay.
You want to do some poll questions?
Sure.
All right. So first one is, and we were careful, we didn't give this away yet, Jessica. So we're good. When was the ANSI IICRC S220 published?
Well, that was January 7th.
Yeah. And how many standards and field guides are there? So let's see if we got anybody that's going to get that right. We got a couple of different answers here.
And I'm trying to think how many field guides, because I know some of them, they split out and stuff like that. I'm going to go with the 20 standards and 4 field guides.
So I think it's the 20 standards and 2 field guides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we just have 2 field guides.
Is that where it is now?
Yeah. But see, you were right and I was wrong. So what do I know? Hey, you can be chairman of the board and not know everything. So
this is true.
Right? So I don't have to. So that's great that other people keep me straight here. So, all right. We do also have a trivia question, Jessica. You want to?
Oh boy, sure.
Yeah, maybe we should do. Hang on, let me close that. All right, let's see. So, if you know the answer to the trivia question, you can type it in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen, and we do have a giveaway. But the question is, what does ANSI or ANSI stand for?
The IICRC Polar Tumbler has a sleek design and keeps your drinks hot and cold for hours.
All right, somebody's going to win that really cool tumbler, Jessica. And
Okay.
I have one, and it's pretty awesome. I use it all the time. So I love it. Yeah. So you get a guess for ANSI?
I think it's the American National Standards Institute.
You are correct. Yes.
And I think they were trying to change the name or something like that at one point, but I can't remember now.
Okay. I didn't know about that. But,
I'm sorry.
And we do have a winner.
Oh, cool. It was TCNA that's changed their name. That's who it was.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we do have a winner. Lena is our winner. So congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. Applause and everything. So that tumbler will be coming your way. Lena, congratulations again. So what is something you'd like to try in your career, but you haven't had a chance to yet, Jessica?
Oh, that's a great question. Because I currently work for a pro source. So my full-time job, I do sales, basically walk-in sales. And I think I see my next leap is being either a manufacturer's rep or just being a consultant. You know, I'm kind of special being in the field I'm in, because I have so much knowledge of inspections and stuff like that, which gives me a lot of credibility when I'm dealing with contractors, because I can be like, well, this is why you shouldn't do this, and this is why I know you shouldn't do this. So I think a consultant would be really cool to just be able to share this knowledge with more people and say, these are the products you need to use, and this is why, and this is how you clean this, and this is how you do this. And that would be I would really enjoy that as being like my next jump, my next leap.
No, I think that would be cool, because you also do a lot of inspections yourself too, right?
I do. Yeah. It's slowed down in this area a little bit, but I still get out and I'm still in the field. Yeah.
So you're seeing it now from both ends. You're seeing the end user coming to buy products, to clean a problem or whatever. And you also see the problems out there when you're out doing the inspections.
Yes.
So, yeah. What's something that you run across a lot out there in the inspection field today that's a real problem for people?
Most things are installation related. Sadly. It's kind of, there is an installation shortage in the industry. It's the reality of it. Guys aren't getting into it. And that is it's a problem, because some guys, the good guys, are more expensive and they're booked, and some people don't want to pay. And so they find this other guy who, he did a great job at Joe's apartment complex. Well, yeah, but you haven't seen Joe's apartment recently, have you?
Right.
So that's kind of the biggest thing. The other is the shiny cleaners. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Rejuvenate. Yeah. I wish I could spill it all on the floor and have people just see how gross it ends up making their floors look at the end of the day. It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I know whenever I took the the stone class years ago, the tile and grout stone class. And one of the things we talked about in there was going to Las Vegas and walking through the Bellagio Hotel and seeing how all the marble in it was not flat because of the products they were using to make it shiny, right? Sure. And I remember the next time I walked in there, and sure enough, I'm like, my wife thinks I'm nuts, and I'm just got my head buried in the floor going, oh yeah, I remember that from class. But yeah, you start noticing stuff like that. And yeah, it's funny how a lot of our family conversations revolve around them noticing me noticing the floor or what's on the floor. Or yeah. I'm sure you do the same thing. Like, oh, I could get that up. I could clean that. I know what that problem is. Yeah. And nobody else cares.
We were watching the NFL draft last year, and I'm looking at all of these floors. Like, I'm not paying attention to what the general managers are doing. I'm looking at their floors. And at one point, I took a picture and I sent it to my coworkers, and I said, hey, I know what that carpet is.
During the middle of the Super Bowl,
huh? Yeah, watching the draft.
It's flooring. Yeah. I know that. Yeah, I gotcha. So, all right. Well, hey, I have really enjoyed kind of catching up with you, learning some things about you that I didn't know. It's been fun. But before I let you go, is there any last thing that you want to let everybody know?
This has been a really great process. Seeing how, these standards are made from beginning to end, and now being involved with the S800 that was an existing standard is now being revised. Seeing all of it, it really is a neat process. I recommend getting involved with it because it stretches your mind. It really helps you see things from other perspectives and how other people in the industry see things. So get involved and get involved with local things. There are local cleaning chapters out there. There's local inspectors that you can, rub elbows with and bounce ideas off of. So this industry, we're all a bunch of people that need connected, and we only grow better if we are connected. So get involved, do stuff. So thanks for having me here today. It's really been great.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to shine a light on the inspection industry. So
thank you.
Sorry, I talked over your applause there, Jessica, but it was great having you, and look forward to seeing you again in the future. Before we go, though, there's a few updates. I wanted to let everybody know that we have a new web store. It's up and running and is finally ready to go and out there. So you can check that out on the IICRC website. And just a reminder, our annual instructor meeting, we call it AIM, is going to be at the Golden Nugget this year in September, and it will be live in-person event. And for the award show, we will also be streaming the award show live on Facebook this year. And so we want to make sure that everybody can join that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We streamed the award show last year live from the GRC in Las Vegas. And this year we'll do it from the Golden Nugget, and it should be a lot of fun. So you can, if you're in person, that'll be great. But if you can't make it, we're going to open it up to all the registrants and certified firms, and they'll be invited. So also, lastly, we talked a ton about the inspection standards today. The S500, though, the water damage standard, is nearing its final stages of completion, and it will be released soon. So watch out for that, and enjoyed having everybody. Thanks to Jessica Violand-Bruno for being my guest. Congratulations to Lena for winning the trivia question, and enjoy the mug. And next month, my guest will be Barry Lichtenstein. And so you're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be a fun show. If you know Barry at all, he is a barrel of laughs. So I'm sure we will have a fun time next month. So until then, I am the IICRC Chairman of the Board, Kevin Pearson, and we'll see you next month.